Shalom. This is Officer Abadawan, I.S.U.P.K. Jamaica. All right, we're looking at today. Now we want to look at prison, the institution of prisons in Jamaica. Prison institution in Jamaica was really a slavery institution because prisons exist during slavery. They used to call them jails still, right? So slaves they didn't live in a house in the chattel days of slavery. You don't say a slave house, you say a slave jail. Slaves were in jail, right? They were holding place for slaves. And many of the plantations have jails on their building, which was really the rooms that the slaves would go to sleep. All right. Looking at these facilities, we have two major facilities in Jamaica, which was commissioned under the British during slavery time. This one is the Tower Street, that was Correctional Center. It was used to call GP, General Penitentiary. This was where they used to hold maximum, this was the maximum security prison at once. It's right there on the waterfront, Tower Street, downtown Kingston, facing the Kingston Harbor. And this says, during the slave trade, the site was used as a trading center for slaves. Underground tunnels were built to facilitate the trading of slaves. Now, this is a document from the Department of Correctional Services. So, this is from the prisons itself. The Correctional Services Government Division itself is telling you that originally this place, which is GP, was built as a holding place, a trading place for slaves, and it even had underground tunnels. One can only guess where those tunnels might have led to. All right. Well, we know that at one time, if you're coming from downtown there, now if you're coming from downtown and say you're going Spanish Town, it's just nowadays you go across the causeway. But prior to that, you used to have to come all the way up to what we would call 6 miles. So you travel up 6 miles, and you wouldn't really go through the swamp. You would go up towards the mountain region there, and you turn and you follow the mountain and come round all the way to Spanish Town. Now there is holding place up in that mountain there. There's historical holding place that were jails for slaves as well. And at one point they used to use it as jail after slavery for police station with police where police would jail people. But it seems as if now after you put slaves there and you trade them, you carry them all the way around whenever, because Spanish Town was the capital. Kingston was a small town. I want to look at the size of that facility, which the facility was built 1845. Well, it was commissioned into a prison in 1845 when our slavery ended 1838. So after slavery was ended, then they commissioned the facility into a prison. And this prison housed both male and female until 1975 when the females were relocated. So they relocated the female, I think they put them at Fort Augusta, and then it became a full male institution. But obviously during slavery, male and female, they might not put you in the same cell, but you are within the same jail. Nowadays, you know, if you go to jail now, you wouldn't, as a man, you wouldn't go in a facility where there is any female prisoner. But during slavery, it was not so. Male, female, once you are, even children, once you were slaves and you were a chattel slave, your holding place was jail. You're in chains, you're going to your jail. There was no bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room, none of those facilities. You just have a one room, which they house whatever number of you in. Now, this one now, the Spanish Town one now, the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center. This now was established in 1655. This side, all right. In 1655, the British established this site as a holding area for slaves, carted to the facility after they disembarked the ship at Port Henderson. Now, they say that it did come from Port Henderson, but Port Henderson was really developed in the 18 something, So, I don't know how they used to do it, but the slave market was in Spanish Town. Slaves used to be in Tower Street, in the holding facility. Kingston was a small town. Kingston was no big town at the time. It was a plantation. Those lowlands that you see, they used to plant sugar cane there. Spanish Town had Port Henderson, and then you have Kingston Harbor wasn't. You used to have shipment taking place at Kingston Harbor, where they used to export rum and sugar, all kind of thing. I think you used to have the train line come all the way up to the sea, where they would unload off into the ship. So that is olden days things, slavery days things. All right. In 1898, the gallows was relocated from Falmouth to this prison. At one point they had the gallows in Falmouth and not in Spanish Town, which has always been the holding area for inmates condemned to death. So once you were condemned to death from ever since, they would hold you in the Spanish Town area. But there's so many shrouded stories around the slavery. They hide in the stories. The tunnels. We have never seen any of those tunnels that we hear of. And we hear about several tunnels in Jamaica that they used to transport slaves. We don't know how long these tunnels were. We don't know what they look like. We have one up here in the Veer Plantation alley, the church. They said that there is a tunnel which had led out to Carlisle Bay, which they used to carry slaves in, right? And many of these stories, at some point, they dig up something with some old uh, new old stories or old news, and they see semblance of what you would hear about tunnels and things. Old slave institutions. But because it was so terrible now, they try to hide what these facilities really were. Sorry, how the institution of slavery really operated. All right, so they removed the prison, the gallows from Falmouth. The last hanging was done in 1988. St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center is one of two reception. All right, so the last time they hung somebody in Jamaica was in 1988. They can't find them names. All right. So these are the two major prisons or jail. They were like big jail really. They became prison after slavery. But during slavery they were really jails, holding place, big jail for slaves. And both built out of brick. You can see that, old time Georgian construction. These were built right on the waterfront to receive slaves from the ship, transported. Some sold, slaves would have been sold in Kingston, yes, because you had plantation in St. Thomas. And I think St. Thomas, let's see if I can find any picture. St. Thomas have some old jails too, You have to search the National Library. You can get them. Um, all right, I don't see it, but there were some old jails in St. Thomas, which all of them was holding place for slaves. All right, this one now. I want to share this tab now. This one says, this one named Jamaican Till I Die. We are more than a beach, we are a country. This, I don't know who is the author for this. I don't see the author. But this was Jamaica's plantation class and the whip hand of slavery, March 9th, 2014. All right, this one now is talking about some white people in Jamaica here who are Jamaicans. They're born here, but they were talking about what has happened to, how did we move from being such rich country in 1804 to be so poor now. hmm All right. Some Jamaicans are so desperate trying to identify Jamaica's oh so special moment in history, trying to identify with something big, great, and special from our past, that they are now claiming that the period of slavery was Jamaica's oh so special moment to be proud of. I often wonder why Jamaica's half breed and white population are so willing to identify with the whip hand of slavery. Right. They are always willing to identify with the master class. That's the half breeds, and the white population in Jamaica. They quick to identify themselves with the master class, with the plantation slave owners. So quick to sing their praise to the black population, like rubbing salt in the wound of our ancestors. My great great grandfather was Lord Racist Overlord and he owned 300 slaves. Right? Many of them speak like that. My great great grandfather was so and so and he held so and so. Well, they should speak because we know the time will come when the grandchildren of those masters are going to be caught away into slavery too. Yeah, the time is coming closer and closer. All right. Any comparison between wealth generation during the period of slavery and wealth generation today is flawed and should never be made by anyone. To treat the period of slavery as a special time in Jamaica's history is an insult to humanity and a bigger insult to Jamaica's black population. To make a statement like, how did we go from such prosperity in 1814 to such poverty today, is not only showing that you are completely ignorant of Jamaica's history, but also a bit retarded. Not to mention, this shows a complete lack of respect for Jamaica's black population and legitimizes slavery. Between 1662 and 1807, nearly 3.5 million Africans came to the New World as slaves to provide free forced labor. In 1740, Liverpool was sending 33 slave ships a year on the triangular trip from England to Africa to the Caribbean. So that was when 1740. By 1740, we know that Liverpool was the big shipyard during slavery. Liverpool, England. So even though there was no slavery, there was no plantation for slaves in England. Slavery did not exist on the English shores, right? But the shipyard that built the ship for the slaves was right there in Liverpool. But they had laws which show you that they themselves know that slavery was a cruel institution that should not have existed because they did not put it on their shores. Slavery did not exist in England, but it exists outside of the bounds of England and their colonies, but not in England proper. Now, can you imagine that? That tell you that they know exactly that this was something cruel which should not have been in any form of existence. And Liverpool by 1740 was sending 33 ships a year to the Triangle slave trade. That's why the England slave trade boomed so much. The English slave trade. What type of person, what type of Jamaican, what type of black person would bask in the glory of slavery, praising its wealth generation abilities, but ignoring its cruelty and inhumanity? See? So you have even black people who talk about, yeah man, in 18 so and so we were a rich country and so and so. Which they are being so damn stupid because they were slaves. They would have been slaves if they were born in that time. Mhm. What type of person would use the period of slavery as a shining example of Jamaica's strength and ability to generate wealth through such cruel and disgusting means? The fact is, the wealth generated from slavery was not distributed among the black population, was not used to improve their standard of living by mainly extracted black back, but mainly extracted back to the mother country to build the great cities of England. So all the wealth that was created by Jamaica went all the way back to England. All right, so here we have some old pictures. These are pictures, probably can get them from Jamaica Archives or from National Library, Jamaica, the National Library of Jamaica. Slave labor was free labor. It was extracted from the black population by force because the black man was not even regarded as a human being and he was valued less than a donkey, while often referred to as it in many planters' journals. Right. So we were regarded. But you see, they had to now do these things to justify within themselves that they are not hurting a human. So they treat you less than human, and by law they term you, give you terms that was not human terms. So they don't call you he or she, they call you it. The Jamaican-based English planter Edward Long wrote in his journal that Africans were devoid of genius and seemed almost incapable of making any progress in civility or science. So this now is their justification as to why they enslave you. You know, you can't do nothing else. Remember, now, who we're talking about here? We're talking about blacks, you know, the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Levi. We're talking specifically about these three who was in chattel slavery under the British, right? Which in the American Constitution too, they label us as 3/5 of a man. So you know, Edward Long wrote in his slave journal that Africans, right? So by the time you reach down to the Edward Long, our roots as Israelites were basically destroyed because when slavery just started, it was Hebrew slaves. And then that got destroyed. We become African slaves. Well, then many of them know that we were not African. All the masters knew we were not African. We were taken from that coast of Africa. They have no plan of system of morality among them, and they have no moral sensation. Now you put the people to live in what you call jails. Many of them were even born in that setting. Many times those who work on the plantation, when they have children, they have to hide the children because once the master knows a baby is around, he take up that baby and him sell it, get some money. All right? Mail it off to somewhere else. They would mail that child to their friend to another plantation actually. So this is what they were saying of us. They were, he concluded, simple and inferior species. All right. Now you calling us inferior species back then, but look at us today. You put us on the track with you. You can't test me. 1 to 1. You see, sports is one of the arena in which you know you shine because there is no master with there is no hold back. You go there and you perform. Once that kind of play field is there, they can't come nowhere near us. And after slavery in America, we, blacks build cities like Black Wall Street. You know, you have Black Wall Street town, the Wall Street that they have today began there. They went and then destroyed it. Right, that was coming right out of slavery. That shows that their analysis of us was totally wrong. All right, this man now, the Jamaican Gleaner published an article titled "Why is Jamaica So Poor?" written by Kyrene King, in which Mr. King stated, 200 years ago, Jamaica was the richest colony in the British Empire by a distance, and its citizens, like Simon Taylor and Thomas Thistlewood, the wealthiest, Falmouth famously had running water before New York. How did we go from such prosperity in 1814 to such poverty today? These few lines gutted me as a human being and a black Jamaican. I was filled with rage and disgust, especially after reading various comments from black Jamaicans agreeing with Mr. King's position, speaking about slavery's wealth like it was our wealth, the nation's wealth, to equally share and enjoy by free black men and women. So you talk about slavery wealth like black used to Blacks generated that wealth. We never enjoy any of that wealth. Our slave master did not have to pay a day's wage. Our slave master did not have to invest in infrastructural development with the entire population in mind. Our slave masters did not have to invest in the development of the black population with things such as education or health care of the black population. So, how can we talk about such wealth as if its purpose was to create an egalitarian nation state where all men are created equal? So what is this we, Mr. King, is talking about? Because Jamaica is we as we know it today did not exist in the time period Mr. King was referring to. Jamaica was England, a satellite outpost, and no nation state called Jamaica existed. Jamaica's population is made up of 91.2% mixed, 91 black population, 91.2%. Mixed is 6.2. Other are unknown is 2.6. So to tell the 91.2 that they were more productive and profitable during slavery to me is disgusting. That is so true. All right, yeah, these are images. This was us during slavery when England was getting rich off Jamaica's wealth. This was us. And this woman now who named Kyrene King position is not much different from Michelle Rousseau of Belfield Great House when she stated, "It really is a step back in time, in the heyday of our sugar production." So, that's kind of what we try to do here. Take people back in time, to 1805 before the abolition of slavery, when Jamaica was a really special place. Before the abolition of slavery, Jamaica was a really special place. And I must ask, special place for whom? All right, so these half breeds and descendants of the master. When we talk today now when they raise the argument of reparation, they themselves tell you, we never own any slaves. So we don't owe anybody anything. But at the same time, you bask in the glory of what your grandparents used to have during slavery. Yeah, that's how it goes. All right, this one now is Port Henderson, a little history on Port Henderson. Port Henderson was established in the late 18th century as a port town and received the first ferry to Spanish Town, Jamaica's capital at the time. Here you go. Port Henderson was established 18 something. That is after slavery. So that's I tell you that these the slave stories and don't walk all that straight. All right. In Port Henderson, there is what you call the Rodney's Arm. This same man here, what they call Admiral George Bird's Rodney. We did some thing there, some video at the Rodney Memorial. It's the same person. He had links over in Port Henderson, yes. Yeah. Because it was said that he was, I think he did the attack on the French when they were invading trying to invade Jamaica, he did the attack from Port Henderson. The most notable of the restored buildings is the Old Water Police Station, which is now home to the Rodney's Arm restaurant. All right, so it was called, that place in Port Henderson was called the Old Water Police Station. And then it became, after time over time, it became known as Rodney's Arm, named after the Admiral George Bird Rodney, who successfully fought off the French invasion of Jamaica 1782. Rodney lived a quarter of a mile uphill from the coast, where the elevation provided an excellent vantage point. See, that was how he was able to do it. To the side, the other side is now called Rodney's Lookout. So where Rodney used to live, up in the mountain in Port Henderson, that is now called Rodney's Lookout. So that place now that was built, I think it was built in his memory as well, because Port Henderson was where he led the attack from. So that building now is called what now who holds the Rodney's restaurant. But I think it is, that building now is under the Jamaica Heritage Trust. But we have a lot of buildings under Heritage Trust. And those buildings, almost all of them, have some slavery, slave history to them. Almost all of the buildings under them. It's the Heritage Trust. All right, so this is a little important, this history. So even though they said that the slave disembarked at the Port Henderson, we don't see nowhere where there is any history. They tell you about Old Water Police Station. Police Station wasn't in Jamaica really at that time. So I don't know. So if the slaves disembarked the ship there, they would have had a holding place for them, because if the ship come at night and you take them off, you have to put them somewhere until you take them to the market in Spanish Town, or you take them to the market in at the GP, what is known today as GP, Tower Street. So, I mean, when you look at the institution today of the prison holds our brothers and sisters, but way more brothers in prison today. And these institutions had basically been perfected during slavery, which is why it's difficult for our people to really escape the prison. What the only thing can break this cycle is Christ. These chains of prison. You know what the scripture say about that now. It says the Lion of Judah shall break every chain. Hmm? The Lion of Judah shall break every chain. I don't want the lyrics. I want the scripture. Revelation 5 and 5. Revelation 5 and 5. And one of the elders saith unto me, Weep not. Behold, the Lion of Judah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the seven seals thereof. Now, which means it's Christ. These are things that were sealed up in the earth here, which, you know, wouldn't have been made known until we have gone through our punishment of slavery, as was stated in Deuteronomy 28 and 68, that we would have gone into slavery in ships. And then, after we've done our punishment now, then these seals start to open, which are the seals that are going to push the earth in the direction to give us back our freedom as Israelites. One, so that we can wear our name with pride, and two, we can reestablish our kingdom, right, under Christ. So these seals now, these things that is happening out in the world here, war, you notice all the heathens warring each other. Yeah, we killing each other too, but we don't have an outright war. What is happening is that they are pushing certain things on us. Economic stress, the guns, they are flooding our communities with these things, which is really, and closing opportunities from us, withholding opportunities. Hence, we are not able to do as the other nation do financially and to better raise our families and things. Opportunities are withheld. I mean, anything you say a black man with him, go there and him fight hard for that. Trust me. There is no institution here in Jamaica who, like all the Chinese, phew, once you're Chinese in a business, Grace Kennedy look out for you. The bank look out for you. And this was from more than 100 years now. All right? And people like to say, well, let them do good at business. They damn lie. Chinese they used to fail in business too and go in at the back of them building, go hang themselves. That's a part of their history, which is why the Chinese Benevolent Society came about now to start, nurture them, and when them bankrupt and thing, other Chinese bail them out. Because when they bankrupt, them not come like we. When we bankrupt, we never kill ourselves. So them used to do things like that. And many of them do that. And other nations who come out here and work 5 years and then get money and could have start business and things. We didn't get anything, any such thing. Anything is a black man with them work free. And you have to defy the odds. But in defying the odds, the mistake many of us are making is we forget Christ. We don't have to study our roots, our history as Israelites. So while we are fighting as Israelites. We're not fighting like them other nations, just fighting willingly. No, we have to fight as Israelites so we can gain back our true identity in this place. Right? We can gain back what rightfully is ours. And that Christ would see it necessary to come and free us again. Right? Well, hopefully tomorrow I get to go into this, where right now what is happening is just the angels holding back this wind of nuclear destruction so that God's people can be sealed. It's best for us to really come in the UPK and be sealed, Start following back your laws, statutes, and commandments. That is what is going to seal you. Right? And stop, go out there and But in fighting the odds, we end up doing so many, what's the word now, unlawful acts that we get into serious problem with the state. We're not talking about no small problem, you know. We get into some serious problem, and these serious problem put us into, sometimes we send into prison, sometimes it get us killed, get us kick out the school, you know. We shouldn't do things like that still. All right, so that's that. You know, our prisons, they are really slave um, institutions. All right, this one now, we're close with this one. This one now, look at this one now. This is a picture. So if you can come up. This, uh, all right, British Online Archive. It is a picture behind this. Let me see. All right, here it is. Pictures relating to the Jamaican estate of the Goldburn family of Bet Betworth House. All right, how can I close this thing? All right, so this was one family now having pictures, and guess what? These pictures are copyrighted here. But anyway, we're not using them for monetary gain. This over here, this one look like a old sugar mill. This one over here, right over to the right, look like a old sugar mill. And this one that we're looking here, I don't know what exactly it was, but that's something to do with the sugar too. But this is an old way how sugar was. If you boil the juice to get out the sugar. This was a rum house. This collection contains records detailing the Gorgon family as well. Right. Ownership of the Amity Hall plantation. Okay. And associated properties in Jamaica during the 17th and 18th century. The plantation had 300 acres of land cultivated for the lucrative sugar cane, and at its peak housed almost 300 enslaved people. Amity Hall, yeah, we hear about this place. Rum barrel leasing. This one here was so rich that the slaves them put on like a clothes, give them like a decent clothes. So that was a really rich plantation. This collection, okay. Most of the papers concerned the properties when they were administered by conservative MP Henry Goldborn between 1805 to 1856. They provide a comprehensive overview of the operation and eventual abolition of the slave trade in Jamaica and the West Indies. This one was also plantation. Not sure what the slaves were doing here. Slaves at work. Old windmill, they had the wind. You see, they didn't even pay electricity bill, The windmill used to water the farm. These are correspondence, papers and things. This one is an auction, slave at work. This is some port to the right here. This one is an auction. All right, slavery cannot be covered. Look at this now. This is where this is what we're talking about when I say they catch your child, they would mail you picking you off to another plantation. Sell them selling this man, Are they receiving one of the two? What they say? It tell you which side to turn up, you know. This was how they mail us from plantation to plantation. In boxes like that. So when I tell you that, we used to have to hide our children or they would take them and mail them off. Yeah, it's true. This is one. It would be nice if I could get one of them pictures, frame and put up in the place. Put up in the school. Now you have to lay down in that box till he reaches destination, wherever they were sending him. These are some Congress. Be a white man, of course. Okay, this was an explosive debate around this transatlantic slave trade during the 17th, 18th, 19th century. Right, this is the one now. Auction. All right, this is the era of the woman who they're auctioning. This was when the slavery began with the natives were around the site. And the auction block at the ground here, this mother with her daughter, her child, her son, with the child breastfeeding. And this one here now, they're actually now, these would have been Native Americans. Maybe if it was Jamaica, Tainos, or another country, some Native American. But they were Israelites the same. Only the Israelites who were enslaved. No doubt about that. Jamaica history 1650 to 1792. What's this one? The Jamaica, the parish structure then was totally different. Let me say if this is it. Yeah, this is like a whole map of Jamaica. Let me see if it is so. So this is one of the whole maps of Jamaica. I'm making it to move. Actually, name of the place. Anyways, that's it. Slavery was a terrible institution, and we, the sons of the slaves, stand today claim our truthful history as the Israelites of the Bible. And imploring you to come in, come learn your true history as the Israelites of the Bible. You are not Africans. Shalom.